We've got a super cool space-age Hemi car on today's show. The 1966 Dodge Charger is one of my favorite cars of the 60s, and not just because this one happens to have the 425 horsepower Chrysler Street Hemi under the hood. This car was totally unique. There were a couple other cars that you could buy at that time period that had the fastback style sloping rear window, but none of them were quite this big. And the Charger wasn't a full-size car. It was still kind of an intermediate, but it was much bigger than a Mustang or a Marlin that could have come with that fastback roofline. So this car has totally different proportions from anything else you could have bought back in '66. The Charger was a brand new model for 1966. It's the first year of the Charger, and I think the Dodge engineers really pulled out all the stops on this one because they gave it interesting features, not only from the standpoint of how it looks on the outside, they also gave it some cool stuff on the inside, and they gave it some great powertrains like the 426 Hemi car that we have here today. The sides of the 66 Charger are unique. It's got a long body line that goes from front to back and the two little recesses on the quarter panel right behind the door. And these kind of break up the fact that this is a pretty big car. Although it shares the same platform as a Dodge Coronet, the Charger is totally unique in the styling from the taillights to the headlights and down the sides. Interestingly, the 66 Charger styling seemed to carry over to become the 1967 Dodge Coronet, but in '66, this one was totally unique. This car has a full-width grille with very fine vertical uprights and disappearing headlights, as they were called in the Charger advertising, and it has a matching full-width taillight with numerous bulbs that go the whole way. So the front and back of the car also have unique styling to match that interesting profile. But the big fastback roofline is what everybody remembers. One thing I always thought was interesting about these cars is the rear windshield is almost inverted. Normally the sides of the glass are low and then the glass bulges out in the middle, but in this case it recesses into the flowing body line of that big fastback roofline. And when you look at the car from the side, it almost looks like maybe it could start sloping just a little bit earlier. But the reason why that roofline is so tall is to accommodate rear seat passengers. And when we go inside this car, we realize how much attention Dodge put into making this car comfortable in both the front seats and the rear. Riding in the back of a Charger like this was a cool deal because each backseat passenger had their own full bucket seat with an armrest, and all that stuff folded flat, giving you a giant space, almost big enough to put another Hemi engine in. Bucket seats in a car of this size was pretty standard in the 1960s. Its competitors, the Ford Galaxy and the Chevrolet Impala, all had front bucket seat options, but none of them had bucket seats available in the rear, especially not with a console that ran the whole length front to back with a separate armrest for the rear passengers. And nothing else had rear seats that folded flat, giving you all kinds of extra storage in the back of your Dodge Charger. So this became a car that you could actually use to haul stuff around and live with. You know, a lot of times if you bought a high performance car, you had to sacrifice space because of the high performance. Well, in this case, you truly did have the best of both worlds. That big sloping roofline was not the only unique design element on a Charger. When you get behind the wheel, you're greeted with a dashboard that has individual pods for the gauges, and at night you flip the headlights on and they all glow blue with a high-tech electroluminescent display, different from anything on the road back in '66. The dashboard is a great example of almost cutting-edge technology for the mid-'60s with that electroluminescent blue display. This is something that became very popular to American consumers in the '80s and '90s with the famous Timex Indiglo watch. But that was 20-some years after this car. And it's not just a bulb, it's got a printed circuit board and an electronic controller to make those gauges light up. So again, very high-tech stuff. This car is unique because it's the only one known to be a black factory Hemi car that came with a radio delete. Now, while we've been fawning all over the design and the functionality of a '66 Dodge Charger, The real fun, of course, is under the hood. And here we have the famous Street Hemi, which is 426 cubic inches. It's sitting underneath two 4-barrel carburetors. It made 425 horsepower as advertised from the factory, 490 foot-pounds of torque. So it was a car that was designed to go as well as to show. This particular car has a TorqueFlite automatic transmission behind the 426 Hemi, and the entire driveline on this particular car is rebuilt recently with around 100 miles on it since it was finished. This factory black color is very stunning over the bright red interior, and the car looks fantastic. It is all the original sheet metal, but it has had one repaint. But again, all the correct colors are still in place, and this is a great example of a very, very stock appearing 1966 Hemi Charger. Dodge did a really good job of promoting the 1966 Charger. They had a variety of interesting print ads and TV commercials. One of the ads used the term Boss Hoss to describe this car, and it went on to tell you of the other benefits of the car when you ordered the 426 Street Hemi engine, including heavy-duty suspension, 4-ply nylon blue streak tires, and the big, for the day, 11-inch brakes. Those were drum brakes all the way around as standard equipment, but for even better stopping power in a straight line, you could get optional disc brakes on the 66 Charger. So this is definitely one of those cars that people either love or they hate. Tell us what you think on our Facebook page, or go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, because maybe next week we bring out another car that you love or hate. You have to stay tuned. See you next time on Muscle Car of the Week.